Welcome back to Trying to Figure It Out. This week we are here back on the couch. We have another solo for you guys. I am going to give you guys my personal, non-professional panic attack 101. I've alluded to having panic attacks. I've talked to you guys briefly here and there about having them and experiences with them, but we've never done like a full deep dive on panic disorder, what that looks like for me, the things I've learned to overcome it, what I'm still learning, and where I'm at with it. I have had panic disorder since I was a kid. The way it used to manifest and look for me when I was younger was just being afraid of everything. I was afraid of the weather. I was afraid of cars. I was afraid of my mom leaving. I was afraid of flying. I was afraid of the ocean. Like, you name it, I was afraid of it. When I got older is when it really started to manifest, and my body, I think, just finally crapped out and was like, I can't possibly handle all these emotions at once and all this anxiety and all of this stress. And I'll never forget the first time I had a panic attack. Literally nothing was wrong. I was completely fine. I was driving on the highway in the car. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, I wasn't thinking about anything. I wasn't anxious. The road just started to swerve. The lanes started going, windy. Like, it was just the most insane sensation I had ever seen in my life. And when that happened, instantly I panicked because, your vision starts to change. So then all of a sudden my brain obviously goes to thinking something's wrong with me. Something bad is about to happen. Am I having a seizure? Am I having a stroke? Is something physically wrong with me that now I'm not seeing straight? It continued to develop and get worse to the point where I was hyperventilating. My heart rate was through the roof. I couldn't calm myself down. I couldn't see straight. I couldn't think straight. I was nauseous. I truly thought I was dying. When it is happening to you, you really do feel like you need to go to the hospital. Like, you get confused that you might be having a heart attack. I will never forget, I called my stepdad and I told him all the things I was feeling, and he was like, "Al, you're having a panic attack. Like, this is a panic attack." I didn't believe him at first because I had never felt this way before. I was like, "You're telling me my whole life I've been living in fear, feeling so much anxiety at all times. And now I'm driving on the freeway, no cares in the world. And all of a sudden this is happening." I was like, "You're wrong. I'm dying. I have to go to the hospital. Like, I'm dying." And he was like, "No, every single thing you're saying is true symptoms of a panic attack. And panic attacks can happen when nothing's wrong, because your body, when it finally does relax, is vulnerable to all of the stress that you had maybe put it through last week. Your body can actually come back after you for that and give you a panic attack when you least expect it." And I will never forget the fear I experienced that entire time. And at this point in life, I wasn't on any anxiety medication. I didn't have a prescription for anything for panic attacks. I was just raw dogging this one. I didn't have one for a while after that. The coast was clear for a bit. I still struggled with anxiety, but I didn't really have any crazy panic attacks like that one. That was my junior year of college when that happened. Senior year, COVID happened. And once COVID hit, I really, really unleashed a beast for panic attacks. Around the time that I found out I had had my pituitary tumor, you would think that that would be the start of never-ending panic attacks for me. You would think that that would be, the beginning of the end for me. But it was actually the opposite. If you have panic disorder and your body is overcome with stress, the minute you're not stressed, you are so vulnerable to getting a panic attack, because that's when your body is like, "Psych, we're going to punish you for all the stress you put us through the last few weeks." When I found out I had the tumor, I was so shook that it had happened that my brain turned off. I was completely frozen, had no idea what was happening. And so I got through that entire summer of knowing that I was having surgery in September, but not really feeling anything at all. After the surgery was when panic disorder took over my life. I woke up from surgery in a complete state of like, holy shit, I just had brain surgery. I cannot believe this. Now that it's over, my body is like, "You've been fighting demons for months and you haven't been feeling anything, and now we're going to come back for you because you've been avoiding your problems for far too long." During this time, post-surgery recovery, the panic attacks were pretty much 3-4 times a week. It was almost a daily thing. I was living in a constant state of panic every single day. I was so glitched out. I could not function. My heart was racing. I could not sleep. I never felt like I could breathe. I could never take a full deep breath in. I was in like a perpetuating panic attack for weeks at a time. And that was the first time ever that I had been prescribed Xanax to help with panic attacks. And I'll never forget the first time I had a panic attack and took the medication for it, how life-changing that experience was. Because honestly, when you go through panic attacks, you really don't think that there's anything that's ever going to fix you. It is so defeating and so overwhelming, the emotions that you're feeling. You feel so helpless and you don't know how to get yourself back to baseline. Knowing that there is something out there that you can take to get yourself back to baseline is amazing, and experiencing that for the first time was like being able to breathe again. During that time, I was definitely having to take it more frequently than I, do now, because the panic attacks were happening so consistently. I really took some time to take notes on what I was going through when I'm having these panic attacks, what it feels like when one is coming, learning that this is something I live with and have to live with, and what can I do now to accept that. And now I can say it's been a long time that I've been dealing with it, and I can tell you guys all my tips on what it looks like when you're having a panic attack, what it feels like when one is coming, what you can do to help yourself when one's happening, how you can maybe stop it from going full force. And that's kind of what I want to talk to you guys about today, and sit here and just give my best advice and tell you the things that I've learned to hopefully help you guys who struggle with the same thing. I am not an expert. I am not a doctor. I am not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. So just know that everything I'm sharing is stuff that I've learned that works for me. I've learned it from my own experiences, and everything I'm sharing is just my tips and advice. If you are struggling with anything and need additional help, like definitely see a doctor, definitely see a professional. I'm just here to share some of my own insight on my own experiences, but I do not claim to be an expert. So just want to put that out there. The first topic I want to cover is how to identify that you're having a panic attack or about to have one. For me, a lot of my anxiety is around health, and my panic attacks are triggered by me feeling like something is off with my health. So common signs for me that I'm having a panic attack or about to look like feeling dizzy out of nowhere and then being like, oh no, what's happening? Or feeling like I can't see straight and feeling like, okay, that's not normal. Like, why am I not seeing straight? What's my body trying to tell me? When this happens, some of the things I try and do are take a few deep breaths, try and acknowledge, did I eat enough today? Am I hydrated? Did I drink too much coffee? What did I do today that, might be causing this feeling? Am I feeling this way for a reason, or is my body about to go into a panic attack? And so once I've deciphered what the reasoning is, typically I sit with that feeling for a moment, try to take a few deep breaths, try to tell myself, okay, breathe. Let's not let this go full force. Like, let's slow this down for a second. The next signal my body shows me is, something else that feels weird enough that then I get scared. I guess the best way I could describe it is when you're driving and you almost rear end someone and you get that feeling in your body where you're like a gasp for air and something really scares you. Or if you're going too fast on the highway and you pass a police officer and you're like, fuck, is he gonna get me? And that feeling, that quick instant feeling of fear, is typically what my body tells me when I'm having a panic attack. And once that happens for me, I have a very hard time stopping the panic attack from coming. So typically for me, I try to find that first warning sign and really nip it in the bud while I can by breathing, by doing some tapping therapy. I'll do tapping on my forehead, on my cheeks, on my neck, and then kind of just sit there and take a few deep breaths to try and really ground myself, because once that next thing happens, it's typically too far gone for me to stop it from advancing into a full-blown panic attack. This part is hard. Once fight or flight is released into our systems, your breathing will become heavier. Fight or flight does increase your heart rate. Those are the side effects of that chemical in your body. my go-to response to that is, now I need to take care of myself. Now I need to really figure out what my body needs. Sometimes I have to lay down. Sometimes I have to literally just take deep breaths, close my eyes, drink some water, continue tap therapy, continue box breathing, throw on a meditation. All the same things that you do to stop it are things that you can do while it's currently happening. But at this point, you have to really give your body the space to just take a moment, because you are completely overfilling with emotions and stress and fear and real bodily symptoms that are happening to you. I've learned a lot about my threshold for panic attacks. I've learned a lot about when I can stop them and when it's too far gone and there's nothing I can do and it's just going to have to happen and I'm just going to have to sit through it and bear with it. A really good example of a time where I tried to stop a panic attack and it was not stoppable and it continued on to be one of the worst ones I've ever had is when I was at Disney World with my boyfriend. It was the last day of our trip. We were in Magic Kingdom and we were walking around, and I just remember getting a feeling. I got one off feeling that something was wrong with me, and my brain immediately was like, red flag, red flag, red flag, like alert, alert, something is not right. I got really scared. Instantly, I looked at my boyfriend and I was like, I think I'm about to have a panic attack. Like, I can feel it coming. And usually when I do anything, I keep medicine on me just in case, because when it happens, like, I need to stop it and I just keep it on me in case of emergencies. I didn't have any that day. And so knowing that I didn't have any also increased my anxiety, because I was like, shit, if this goes as far as I feel like it's about to go, I'm not going to have anything to help myself. I tried to just take a moment to stop it from happening. So we went and we sat down somewhere. I laid down. Miles went to go get me food. He got me a Powerade. He got me like a bunch of different things to try and help. Like, we were thinking maybe the heat made me dizzy or whatever it was. We didn't know what was happening, but he was trying to help by getting food and getting all different things to try to help me feel better. And I just laid down, literally just on a random bench. I was reaching my threshold of being able to continue to power through. I did what I could to try to stop it from going full force. I drank electrolytes. I laid down. I tried to breathe. I tried tapping. I tried all these different resources and tools that I have in my toolbox. Unfortunately, it didn't work. As I was laying there, the sounds of children and people walking around the park felt like someone was screaming in my ears. I could not breathe at this point. Like, I could not get a full breath of air in my body. I could not see straight. I was feeling so out of it, just complete panic. So at this point, I knew that the panic attack had crossed over from being like the early signs of one coming to one fully happening. And so we ended up leaving the park, going back to the hotel. And by the time we got to the hotel, I was like crashing out. I was like ready to cry. Like, nothing was working. Like, I was just shaking in fear. And it's crazy because nothing was wrong. Like, we were just at Disney World. We're having a good day. Nothing was wrong. No one was triggering me. I wasn't sad about anything. I didn't have a bad day. I wasn't stressed. I wasn't worried about anything. Like, I was completely fine. And then just out of nowhere, my body was like, fuck you. This is what's going to happen now. You're going to go through it. We ended up sitting in the lobby of the hotel. I took a half of a Xanax to try to calm myself down. And we ended up sitting there for over an hour just waiting for my body to get back to baseline. And for me, once it's really raging in my system, there's not much I can do on my own to get it to go away other than sit through it in pure discomfort or take medication to help myself get through it. So for me, I really try to acknowledge the warning signs and stop it before it gets too far gone for me to not be able to make it through. That was one that really stood out to me as like a really horrible experience of just feeling complete and utter fear that was unmanageable. Like, if I didn't know what a panic attack was, like, it's hospital level, something is wrong with you. I need to be seen by a doctor immediately. And it's just so crazy how our bodies can do that to us. It's so crazy how panic attacks so often happen when nothing is wrong at all, and when our bodies are vulnerable to catching up with themselves. And I think that's what makes them so much harder to fight. For me, at least, the biggest struggle I've always experienced is that because I always have panic attacks when nothing is actually wrong, the symptoms I feel are so confusing to me. If I was super stressed and started having like heart palpitations, I'd be like, oh, that makes sense. Like, I'm really stressed. Like, duh, I'm doing this to myself. But when you're at Disney World and nothing is wrong at all, and all of a sudden you feel like you're going to faint, and then your heart starts racing, and then you get nauseous, and then you can't breathe, and then you can't see straight, and nothing's wrong, you think something's actually wrong with you. And it's so hard to differentiate that from a panic attack. Like, it's so hard to accept that this is your body's response to stress and anxiety. And so even now, to this day, as someone who's had so many panic attacks, the reason why they advance for me is because every time I still get so caught off guard by them, and I still have a hard time reminding my brain that this is a panic attack. This is not a heart attack. This is not a stroke. This is not a medical problem. This is an anxiety attack. One small feeling, one weird symptom, and my body just goes into a full state of shock. As I said, I've had so many panic attacks. I actually recently had one. Me and my boyfriend went to go get barbecue a few weeks ago. And when we got into the restaurant, the minute we walked in there, I felt it coming. I really, really felt it brewing. I felt irritable. I felt overwhelmed by the restaurant, by the space, by the voices of the people around us at the table. I felt sensitive to light. I felt hot. I felt cold. I was just feeling all these weird feelings. And I was like, okay, it's coming. Like, I know this is coming. I've identified it. What can we do? And so I was sitting in the restaurant and I'm literally doing EFT. I'm tapping my face. I'm taking deep breaths. I'm pushing on like pressure points on my hands to try to distract myself, to try to calm myself down. I'm like really trying to just relax. I'm like, let's order the food ASAP. Maybe I need food in my system and I'm just dehydrated or hungry or whatever it might be. This was one of those panic attacks that never really went full force because I think I identified it so soon, but it was so uncomfortable the entire time. We finished our meal, we ate the food, we left the restaurant, and when we got home, I'm not even kidding, I got back into bed, I closed my eyes, and I woke up 3 hours later. Like, I took a 3-hour nap at 3 p.m. on a Sunday, and when I woke up, I felt like my body had just been in a workout class or something, like so exhausting and draining that I needed that 3-hour nap. And it's because that hour and a half that I was spending fighting my anxiety and fighting this panic attack completely destroyed my body. It was so much energy out of me to fight that panic attack and to stop it from completely destroying my day and going full force that my body afterwards just needed to sleep. And that's an example of a panic attack that didn't go full force. When I have a panic attack that goes full force that I actually have to take medication for, once it does go away and the medicine kicks in, my body feels so drained and so exhausted that I feel like I have to do self-care. After a panic attack and after you go through an experience like that, your body needs nutrients. Like, you are really taking a beating when you have a full-blown panic attack. And I've learned that typically after, like, I have a routine that I do when I have a full force panic attack. I take a bath. I lower the lights. I don't have bright lights around me. I sit, I lay down, I put on a show that's like a comfort show, whether it's One Tree Hill or Schitt's Creek or The Office or something like that requires zero brain power for me to watch, that completely takes me out of my body, that allows my body to physically rest. Because when our bodies go through what they do when you have a panic attack, they need extra love and care afterwards. Like, it's normal to be drained from having one. It's so hard on our bodies. Eat a filling meal, take a bath, take a walk, go outside, get some vitamin D. There's so many things that you can do, and they have to be the things that work for you. But for me, after going through a panic attack, I always have to take a moment to reset and really give my body what it needs. And these are just some of my experiences and the things that I've learned overall about having panic attacks, what it feels like, how to identify them, things that you can do to really help yourself get through them. And the medication aspect is between you and your doctor. That is just what works for me and what I have to do for myself. But that being said, For anyone out there who does struggle with panic attacks, just know you're not alone. It took me so long to really understand them, to really understand that I was having them, why I was having them, when my body chooses to have them. Everyone is different. Everyone has their triggers. Everyone has their things. But really learning so much about it has helped me so much to understand how to cope with it. I find it important for me to share this experience with you because when it happens, you feel so helpless. It's so debilitating and it's so scary every single time. No matter how many panic attacks you've had, every single one might as well be the first one. It is such a scary feeling, and it can feel so isolating because the people around you don't know how to help always, and they just see you going through it and they don't feel it themselves. And so when it really is happening, you just feel completely alone and you don't know how to make it go away, and it kind of doesn't get to go away until it runs its course. I'm actively still learning new tools and resources every single time I have a panic attack, and I'm really trying to figure out what I can do to continue living with them and figuring out how to help myself. All in all, I love you guys. I hope this was helpful. A little panic attack non-professional 101 sesh with you guys. I hope this was helpful for you, and we will be back next week with another exciting episode of Trying to Figure It Out. Love you.